like to talk to you today about love, specifically about a situation where feeling loving might be very difficult. Shalom, my friends. Yes, love is my topic today. The Torah, the Jewish term for the first 5 books of the Bible, has surprisingly little to say about love. But what it does tell us is that we are to love the stranger, we are to love our neighbor, and we are to love God. Which of those is the hardest of the 3? I would suspect there's no consistent answer to that question. Sometimes one may be harder, sometimes another one may be harder. I suspect that for a lot of people who are going through the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, might feel a little difficult right now to love God. I have a theory about that I would like to share with you. But I warn you, theologically, this is a bit radical. But here we go. I believe that when we're little, when we're children, we start out thinking that our parents can do anything because they can do things that are so far beyond our capability to do as little children. Something as simple as getting the peanut butter off the top shelf of the closet. Wow, amazing. Something we can't do when we're little, but our parents can. And they can fix our toys when they break. Sometimes. And that's the rub. Eventually, there comes a point at which you realize that your parents have limitations. I hope you conclude that despite those limitations, your parents are worthy of your love. Allow me to suggest that we approach God with the same assumption. The assumption is that because God can do things that are so far beyond our capabilities, God can create a universe. God did create the universe. We can't conceive of such creative power. It's beyond our ability. But then I think we make an assumption. And that is that if God can do things that are so far beyond our capability as human beings, God has no limitations whatsoever. That might be true. If it is, then God could prevent human suffering from natural disasters such as hurricanes, but for God's own reasons, chooses not to do so. If you believe that, I respect it. It's a legitimate theological position to take, but it's not mine. Mine is that as powerful as God is, there are still some things that God cannot do. And I believe that's because God chooses to follow the laws of nature that God himself set up. What I'm saying, my friends, is that things happen in the world that are not God's will. And the destruction caused by a hurricane is such an example. An innocent person wounded or killed by a bullet, be it accidental or intentional. We have so many mass killings in our country right now. These are not examples of what God wants. In fact, the last example I used is a prime example of the opposite of what God wants. So whether it's by choice or by limitation, things happen in this world that God simply does not want to happen. I hope that despite that reality, you will reach the conclusion that I have reached, which is that God is still worthy of my love and my reverence. My friends, if you would like to subscribe to this channel, please do so by clicking on my face. It comes up right over there. And if you'd like to see the last video I released, it's related to this one. It's about the hurricane. Click on its icon right over there. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom.